The California ground squirrel classification is Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Mammalia, Order Rodentia, Family Suridae, Genus Otospermophilus, and Species Beechiae. The California ground squirrel is usually mixed up with the gray tree squirrel. Although they look and act very similar, they are two very distinct creatures.
The California ground squirrel is 14 to 20 inches long and between 21 to 30 ounces as an adult. With an average lifespan of 1 to 2 years, the ground squirrel can live up to 5 years. In comparison to a gray tree squirrel, the ground squirrel has a slightly less bushy tail and generally lives underground. Ground squirrels typically mate in early spring or as early as January up to July. They do this depending on the region and the climate. The peak mating season for ground squirrels is between March and June. They produce 1 litter per year with 6 to 8 young per litter. The process of maturation can take up to 8 months from birth to maturation. Young emerge from the burrows as young as 6 weeks and resemble adults after 6 months. California ground squirrels generally reside in underground burrows. These habitats are protected and covered near rocky areas and under trees or logs, even in some cases under homes. On average, these burrows are 2 to 3 feet underground from the surface in depth, but can go as far down as 6 feet deep. With anywhere between 6 to 20 entrances, these burrows are generally 4 inches in diameter at the entrance and as long as up to 35-foot tunnels. Ground squirrels typically prefer open habitats with rocks, scattered trees, logs, and lots of ground cover. From the burrow, the range of the ground squirrel is up to 450 feet in radius. Males travel up to 2/5 of an acre, and females travel up to 3/5 of an acre.
During the months when green forage is readily available, California ground squirrels will feed on grasses and leaves of lower growing shrubs. Once the amount of green forage declines, they switch over to seeds and fruit. Knowing when this switchover takes place is essential when preparing for an appropriate management practice. For instance, setting bait when their diet mainly consists of green forage will be less effective than if you set bait when their diet mainly consists of seeds and fruit. They are also known to eat a variety of insects. California ground squirrels also have a cheek pouch they use to carry food away, to eat in shady spots, or to stockpile food in their burrows for later consumption. Above all, they are opportunistic animals and take advantage of the resources around them, which is why they pose a major threat to agricultural crops. California ground squirrels are responsible for the greatest amount of damage on California agriculture. Most of the damage occurs in crops that are adjacent to uncultivated areas where the ground squirrels are not controlled. They are capable of causing a wide range of issues, such as chewing plastic irrigation lines, feasting on fruits and nuts, as well as vegetative crops, gnawing on bark, girdling trunks and scaffold limbs, which might cause tree to die, and they damage roots. Their extensive burrows can also contribute to soil erosion and make mechanical harvesting difficult. The California ground squirrel alone caused between $8 and $12 million in damage to California crops in 1998.
Ground squirrel management, like for many other pests, revolve around pest life cycles. If we look at this chart, we can see that our main management techniques will consist of fumigation, toxic baits, burrow monitoring, and shooting, with the two most prevalent techniques, fumigation and toxic baits, having a smaller time frame of efficiency compared to others due to squirrel feeding habits and dormancy behaviors.
With these limitations, implementing other forms of control can help decrease populations, trapping being one of the most commonly used.
With smaller population densities, the conibear trap can be an ideal choice due to less burrowing activity. However, when populations are much greater, live trapping may be a better choice. The most common is a squirrelinator, a specific live squirrel trap. And like many pest management techniques, there are some tips that one can implement to increase effectiveness. For the squirrelinator, it is a good idea to set the trap in the desired location with bait, but not completely setting up the trap. Instead, you will leave the top of the cage open, allowing the squirrels to become comfortable going in and out and feeding. Once you established they are comfortable, you will properly set up the trap.
Hi, my name is Marno Farrell, in-house PCA, CCA for Huntington Farms. I've been at Huntington Farms for 8 years.
Where do squirrels rank among vertebrate pests on your ranches?
I would rank squirrels number 2 after birds.
So would you say they're a pest of economic importance?
Yes.
So what kind of monitoring do you do for squirrels?
So the monitoring I use is when I do my daily routine, I'll keep an eye open for any fresh burrows on levees, any feeding on vegetation, or sometimes we'll see them cross the roads.
What kind of control methods do you implement?
We'll use trapping, fumigation, baiting, and shooting.
And how effective are these control methods?
They're very effective. It just depends the time of the year we could use them. For example, during our off season, we'll use baiting, which is very effective. During our growing season, we can use baiting due to food safety concerns. So our most effective method will be trapping, followed by fumigation.
So first off, you want to identify that it's a squirrel burrow. See that if there's activity, there'll be dirt loose around the burrow hole.
We identified our burrow. Now we're digging a hole. Gonna square it off so we can set our conibear trap. Ready to go.
So here we're setting up the conibear trap. It's very slippery right now, so be cautious. And then once you set it, you put the prongs in a slot you would like. And easy as that.
But here we've already dug out our hole. We're setting up our trap, making sure that we stake it in case a coyote or other animal or dog comes by, they don't rip it out, as well as flagging it so that people walking by can know that there's something in the premises that they should be aware of.